including from the U.S. Space Agency, NASA, and the Department of Defense. Let's get more insight into those federal contracts with SpaceX with Garrett Reisman. He's a former NASA astronaut who was SpaceX's Director of Space Operations from 2011 until 2018. He's now a professor of astronautical engineering at the University of Southern California. Great to have you with us. Just first of all, can you describe for us how critical the Dragon capsule is and that back and forth on that possibly being decommissioned, what impact that would have?
Well, the Dragon capsule in particular is the only way NASA has right now, practically speaking, to get crew to and from the International Space Station, at least domestically. The other option is to launch our astronauts on the Soyuz rocket with the Russians, but that capacity is limited and obviously is not something that NASA really wants to do. So it's really important. It also provides about half of the U.S. supplied cargo to the space station. It's really going to be difficult to maintain the International Space Station without it.
We've been talking a bit about how SpaceX and the U.S. government, NASA, are so closely tied with these contracts. I mean, how difficult would it be for NASA to no longer be able to rely on SpaceX?
Well, it'll be very difficult for the U.S. government writ large. I mean, in 2024, SpaceX launched 19 different rockets for the U.S. government for government payloads. That was for NASA, but also for the Department of Defense, for national security missions. And the entire rest of the providers, all the other rocket companies out there, only supplied 5. So it's 19 to 5. You can see how big of a piece of the pie SpaceX has. And again, that'd be really hard to replicate.
I mean, obviously you worked at SpaceX, but were there concerns that it does have such a big a piece of the pie?
Yeah, you know, ironically, when I first came to SpaceX, we pounded our fists on the table and jumped up and down and said that this other company, United Launch Alliance, that was operating the Atlas and Delta rockets, had a monopoly on U.S. government launches. And this was wrong. It was not good for the U.S. government. There should be multiple providers. It's not a good place for the government to be. And here we are now with the shoe on the other foot. So it's not good for the U.S. government. And the U.S. government has been trying to get other competitors. And there are 2 that are starting up. One is the Vulcan rocket from that company, ULA. And the other is the New Glenn rocket from Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos's company. But they're just really exiting their development phase, or still in their development phase. The Blue Origin rocket, New Glenn, only launched 1 time. And the Vulcan rocket only launched twice, and only one of those was fully successful. So there's not a whole lot of good options right now, which is why this is really not a good place and there's a lot of alarm being sounded in the Pentagon and in the halls of NASA.
Garrett, I want to ask, you reported directly to Elon Musk, I understand, when you were at SpaceX. You know him. What do you make of what we've seen, and what do you think Elon Musk will do now with SpaceX? How important is this venture to him?
Well, I just talked about how, critical SpaceX is to the U.S. government and how there is alarm being sounded. But I don't want to overstate this. I don't want to be an alarmist, because I think a lot of what we saw yesterday was performative theater. And I think that I wouldn't react too strongly about a post about decommissioning Dragon, for example. Let's wait and see what really happens. I think both the U.S. government and Elon with SpaceX have a strong incentive not to go down that road. And as far as working with Elon, boy, there's a lot I could talk to you about that, but I don't know how long of a segment do you have.
Well, anything you can share with us about how you see Elon Musk reacting to all of this and what he'll do next with SpaceX?
Well, I think it's important to realize that what drives Elon is this need to be the single figure that fundamentally changes the course of human history. And for a long time, he was trying to accomplish that status by making human life multiplanetary with SpaceX and by making our transportation sustainable. And those are 2 noble goals that I was definitely on board with, both of them. I think that he still has that drive and that need. It makes him the most determined person I've ever met. But he's gone off on a bit of a strange direction, starting with the purchase of Twitter. And I don't know. I hope that he can get back on track, frankly.
Garrett, it's been really good to talk to you, to get your perspective on this story today. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.